A my billionaire grandfather, determined to ensure it live my entire life as a wheelchair, spent a fortune to arrange for me to meet one of my far adoptive sisters. But I turned down this incredible auvu it or a secret out. Because in my previous life, to keep me from being lonely, my grandfather had adopted those four girls from an orphanage to be my sisters. They had doted on me and spoiled me since we were children. But everything changed the day after grandfather died. They all fell in love with a scholarship student I was sponsoring. And not only did they give him everything that was mine, they locked me in the mansion and tried to force me to apologize to him. So after being reborn, the very first thing I did was early to arrange the marriage with Chloe Vance, a woman from a family with a long and distinguished military history. I had just stepped out of City Hall when my grandfather called. Chloe Vance has proposed to you in private 88 times. That girl is currently devoted to you. The women of the Vance family are famous for their loyalty, so I can't rest easy knowing you're marrying for. I'm getting cold and all I want is for someone to be by your side. As for the company stock previously allocated to you of our adoptive sisters, we've taken the liberty of revoking ATO. Since they won't be your wife, it's no longer appropriate for them to have it. Listening to my grandfather's comforting words, I couldn't stop my eyes from welling up with tears. In my past life, grandfather had told me that none of the four girls were suitable to be my wife once they grew up. But I didn't listen. Now that I have a second chance, I will listen to him and never again solve the tragic fate of my previous life. I suppress my emotions while singing a cheerful tone into my voice. Grandfather, you do whatever you say. You just focus on getting better at the clinic, and to come visit you for the holidays. After hanging up, I went home. The moment I reached my bedroom door, I saw Caleb sprawled out on my king's bed as if he owned IT. Caleb was the ungrateful scholarship student it sponsored. The man of my four adoptive sisters had become utterly infatuated with in my past life. Right now, the four women known as the four princesses were fawning over him. The eldest, her mother, the cool and calm CEO of Sterling Corp, was gently presenting a vintage pocket watch to him, trying to win it his favor. The second, Maya, a gentle and patient doctor, was carefully holding a bowl of medicine, testing its temperature for him. The third, Isabel, an analyst actress with a reputation for being a flirt, was cradling him in her arms with a look of tender pity. And the fourth, Zai, a oiled and untamable race car driver, was making silly faces to make him lee. I stared at the flower of the atom, so familiar yet so alien, and the memories of those humiliating nights came rushing back with painful clarity. Who could have imagined that the four women I trusted entered the world most would treat me like a worthless toy, plunging my life into darkness? I clenched my phone tightly, fighting back a wave of nausea, and walked straight into it toward nagging. The moment Caleb saw me, he flinched and buried himself deeper into Isabella's embrace, saying pitifully, "Ethan, I know this is your room, and it's not right for me to be here," but the girls insisted. They said IT has the best sunlight. Caleb always played the victim to get sympathy. In my last life, I fell for IT countless times just to keep my sisters from hating me. Now that I wanted nothing to do with the foul of the atom, WHO would I put up with Caleb. I caught him out with a coldly. If you know it's not appropriate, then get the hell out. I'm getting married soon and I shan't have other people living in my house. I don't want my future wife to get the wrong idea. As soon as I finish it, Zoe shot a glare at me. "Ethan Sterling, do you even know how to talk? If not, just shut up. I think you're the one who should get out." Maya also gave me a disapproving look. Even her mother, who was usually so aloof and quiet, frowned. "Ethan, grandfather wants you to choose one of us to marry, but none of us are ready. Marriage isn't something to be trifled with." Isabel simply helped Caleb up to leave. He was just borrowing your room. Can't you be a good friend and let IT go for Caleb's sake? If you still want any of us to marry you, you need to lose that spoiled rich kid attitude. With a wonderful man like Caleb around, what woman would choose you over him? In the past, hearing such harsh words from Term would have sent me into a rage. But now, I just stared emotionlessly. I never said I was going to marry any of you. Zoe pointed to a row of gifts on the bookshelf. "Ethan Sterling, who are you kidding? You betrayed every little thing I've ever given you. You say you won't marry us. Who's going to believe that? I followed her finger to the bookshelf which stood nearly 7 feet tall and was packed with items. Paper cranes is het volded on a fountain pen meer had set a glass orb from Maya. The first trophy Zoe ever won in a race. The love I once had for these things was now matched only by my hit rate. I walked straight to the bookshelf and right in front of the 3 remaining sisters snatched the racing trophy. Then let me show you just how determined I am not to marry you. With that, I slammed the tea to the ground and the trophy shattered. But I hadn't finished it. I continued with a cold smirk. Amelia's fountain pen. Smashed. Maya's glass orb. Smashed. Isabella's jar of 8,000 paper cranes. Smashed. I picked up their group vote, ready to destroy tea. Too. Buttermilk grabbed them my wrist. Her grip like steel. Her usually deep, indifferent eyes were now filled with disappointment. Ethan Sterling had seen a wolf. She took the vote from my hand. Since you're so attached to this room, you can't have a tea back. You have Caleb moved downstairs. I took a step back, putting some distance between us. Then met there is with a cold stare. Grandfather bought this mansion for me. I said, Caleb has to go. And if any of you have a problem with that, you can't get out with him. As I spoke, I pulled out a wet wipe and cleaned the spot on my wrist where Amelia had touched me. Amelia's face instantly froze. She turned and walked through it or turned toward. As Zoe left, she soon resisted a parting shot, making our cool as a cucumber sister's pictures with anger. You're really something else. Maya shot me a cold glance before turning to leave with her medical back, saying nothing, but they didn't understand. I wasn't trying to make them angry. I was genuinely disgusted. The mere thought of my past life made me want to throw up. After reaching in the bedroom for a while, I called the staff and had them replace everything in the room. I retreated to a room on the top, floor to rest, and didn't come down all night. The next morning, I took my laptop to the rooftop garden for some fresh air. I had just sat down when I got a call from my bespoke tailor. Mr. Sterling, your custom suite is ready. I appended the email and saw a picture of the finished product. I had designated the same suite in my previous life, but in the end, Kilk was the one who wore IT. As I was lost in thought, Zoe suddenly approached with my aunt Isabel trailing behind her. All 3 of them saw the suite on my laptop screen. Zoe, ever the sharp tongue, started magging me immediately. So that whole tantrum and smashing things was just you playing hard to get. You were already had the wedding suite designated. Clearly, you were just waiting to marry one of us. I ain't expected to see them at this hour. They were usually with Caleb helping him get some sun. What a pain. I closed my laptop and looked at the 3 of them. You're reading too much into IT, I said flatly. Feel free to go take care of Caleb. Evie already agreed to the marriage lines with the Vance family. I won't be competing with him for any of you. Hearing this, Isabella's expression shifted. Her shocker read Demian vanishing. The Vances are a powerful military family. They could crush a dozen billionaires without breaking a sweat. You don't joke about things like that with ARM. Don't talk recklessly or Mary will be the one cleaning up your messes. Maya, who had been silent until now, adjusted her glasses and stepped forward, taking a more hint. You've made your point. Now go downstairs and apologize to Kilp, and we can all go back to being a happy family. But I slipped her hand through, and my face pale as I backed through. Of the flower of the Aram, her touch was the one I'd sold and bear. How ironic. I once went to the trouble of having the freshest milk flown in from New Zealand for her to suck her hands in, all to protect her precious Surgeon's hands. But it was those very hands that had taken my kidney and ultimately my life. Even now, I can't forget that sickening pain. Believe what you want, I said. I left there with. Then went back to my room, not emerging again. That evening, a staff member brought me a packet. Inside was an antique silver ring with an intricate intertwined design. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Chloe, my fiancée. She explained that it was a Vance family heirloom passed down only to the men who marry into the family. To show my sincerity, I immediately put it on my ring finger and sent her a picture. What do you think? Look good. I had just sent the voice message when Isabella's lazy voice drifted from the doorway. What looked so good? Before I could turn, she wrapped her arms round my waist from behind. With a sudden pull, we both fell onto the nearby sofa. Above me, she was wearing a loose silk robe, the fabric gaping slightly to reveal the curve of her chest beneath her collarbone. Her breath reekte of alcohol. Her beautiful almond-shaped eyes were bloodshot at the corners. And though her exquisite face was smiling, her gaze was utterly cold. Whose ring is this? Take a tear off. Your ring finger is for a wedding band. You can't wear some random piece of junk on it just because you're in a mood. Her face was cold. Her eyes burning with that possessiveness I remembered all too well from my last life. Every time she looked at me that way, she would demand, "Have you been with the other three?" A wave of disgust churned in my stomach. My stinging, I swung my hand and slapped her across the face. "Isabel, are you out of your drunken mind? I'm Ethan, not Caleb." But in the next instant, she pinned my hands down and leaned in, kissing me fiercely. Suddenly, a shout came from the doorway. It was Caleb. I looked up to see his face contorted with jealousy, and behind him, my other three sisters looking murders. I seized the chance to shove Isabel out of me. She didn't even spare me a glance, scrambling to her feet and rushing toward Caleb. Caleb listened to me before she could finish. He clutched to his chest dramatically and collapsed. Maya was there in an instant to catch him, helping him rise and anxious Isabel followed. I sat up from the sofa, and my expression cold. Zoe stormed over, yelling in my face. "Ethan Sterling, you know Caleb has feelings for Isabel. How could you deliberately seduce her and kiss her in front of him? Are you that disgusting?" Disgusting? Of course. I was disgusted, but I was disgusted beyond them. I suppressed my rage, fixing my gaze on Emil and Zoe, who hadn't left yet. "Are you both blind? Didn't you see me pushing her away? This is my room. You all just barge in without asking. Who's the shameless one here?" Without waiting for a response, I shoved the term out and slammed the door. I rubbed my temples trying to calm down. Then I pulled out my phone and called a real estate agent to list the mansion. After Chile and I get married, I'll be living with her family. So, I hardly ever be back here. If those four want to live with Caleb, they can do it somewhere else, not in my house where they can disgust me. For the next few days, none of the four sisters bothered me. In the past, all I would have taken was one day of the silent treatment, and I would have come crawling back, apologizing just to keep the peace. It endured so many of their hurtful words for the sake of that. An apology needs to sound like one. If you don't know what you did wrong, just give Caleb whatever he wants. If you keep acting so arrogant, yet try to stay single forever and marry you. Now, I just think about how stupid I used to be. They didn't want me, but plenty of other people did. I was glad for the peace inquired, but the peace only lasted a few days before my phone started blowing up with messages from Caleb and Sterling. So, what if you're the richer? They still revolve around me. They always stand by my side and have my back, no matter what. I can tear them from you whenever I want. Another notification pinged there. He had sent a photo. It was Caleb sitting in a pile of gifts, grinning from ear to ear, and the gifts, the trophy, the glass orb were all identical replicas of the ones I had destroyed. I numbly locked my phone and went back to submitting my final design project. I was a design major in college and my thesis project was a very sweet I had permission from the tailor. A week later at the graduation gala for the Los Angeles Institute of Design, I made an appearance. As soon as I entered the ballroom, I saw Caleb surrounded by my four sisters, the center of their universe. Amelia says were soft. This bespoke suite is the designer's latest creation. It's one of a kind, and it looks perfect on Caleb. Maya smiled gently. "Caleb, you're the prince of the ball tonight. I wonder, may I have the first dance?" Isabel lightly kissed each's hand. Her eyebrow arched playfully. "Caleb, I'd like you to be the leading man in my next film. Not to be our Donnie," Zoe chimed in. "Caleb, I won a race yesterday. The prize was this ruby ring worth a fortune. Let me put it on for you." The four women everyone in Los Angeles now font over. The sachaliteit four princesses of la. Meer Sterling, a top-tier for Nancy. Maya Sterling, a aldrinonit surgeon. Isabel Sterling, a ena shining actress. And Zoe Sterling, a outslash professional race car driver, were all competing to flatter Kilorp. And I, the one day you said to cherish, was now the boat of every joke. The four princesses who said to be all over Ethan Sterling. He even claimed one of them would marry him. What a joke. If you ask me, Kilorp is the real prince. I definitively marry one of them. Kilorp is so generous and kind, while Ethan is just arrogant and spoiled. I value them. I protect Kilorp, even if he did something wrong. I ignored the two-ness. For security reasons. It never told anyone I was a grandson of last biggest tycoon. Besides Kilorp, everyone at school assumed I was on scholarship just like him, and that everything I had was thanks to my sister's generosity. The truth was, grandfather had chosen them from an orphanage. The Sterling family had treated them like their own and had invested a fortune into making them who they were today. As an only natural that they should be good to me. There was no point in explaining now. In my last life, it was at this very gala that I brought a bottle of wine for my sisters. But the wine was drugged and the five of us were trapped in a haze of depravity for a full day and night. That day was the beginning of my miserable end. This time I planned to just get through the evening quietly and not touch a single bit of food or drink. But of course, after sucking up enough envious tears, Kilorp made his way over to me. He offered me a glass of wine with a smile. Ethan, don't listen to them. I know your sisters care about you the most. Happy graduation. I didn't take a tea. Stepping back instead. I don't drink. With that, I pushed past him and he did for the loans. I heard his angry voice behind me. So ungrateful, I ignored her. But just a few minutes after I entered the lounge, a familiar, sickening heat began to spread from the pit of my stomach. My heart sank. I would recognize this feeling even in death. In my past life, my sisters had often said drugs on me to make me more compliant. When the drug took hold, I would lose all sense of shame. I hadn't touched anything tonight. How could this be happening? I fumbled for my phone, my hand shaking as I dialed 911. Just as I finished explaining the situation to the operator, the door to the lounge was kicked open. I looked up and just like in my past life, my four sisters were walking toward me. I scrambled backward in terror, my legs trembling. Who told you to come here? Get out. Zoe stepped forward. Nooit. Je ain't you the one who misguided us to come. The other three advanced on me as well. I didn't. Stay away from me. I was backed into a corner, trembling. In 8 days, I could almost see them again, just like in my past life, taking turns with me. Don't come any closer, please. The drug was taking hold. My face flushed and hot. In the dim light, my face was flushed, my lips pressed tight. The corners of my eyes red, creating an intentional seductive look. The look in all four of their eyes darkened, and none of them backed through. They closed in, surrounding me. Isabel crouched down, grabbing a handful of my hair and sniffing at it playfully. Didn't you ask us to come? Now that you're here, why are you playing so hard to get? They exchanged a look, and the intense possessiveness in their eyes mirrored the horror of my past life. I tried desperately to escape, but my body wouldn't listen. Why? I was so close to escaping the fate of my last life. Their fingers touched my waist, and just as I gave in to despair, the door burst open. In my peripheral vision, I saw police officers rushing toward me. JCDFT, Patty, 3 feet, Fister, please, Fister. The moment an officer helped me to my feet, I finally let go and passed out. I was saved. I would never let myself end up like that again. When I woke up again, I was in a hospital bed surrounded by my 4 sisters. Meer handed me a glass of water. Her voice uncharacteristically gentle. You're awake. That's good. Are you feeling uncomfortable? And you were. Here, drink some water. I was a little dazed. I think it had been so long since it felt any concern from her. The other 3 exchanged their glances and nodded. As long as you're okay. Whether their concern was genuine or just for show, I'd soon be better to figure it out. I took a sip of water and 10 meters paquet. Since you're a vine now, you should go ahead and drop the police report. I know you'll do this in a cerebral thing. Maya quickly did. The police found out Kale was the one who led the operation since in the launch, but he was framed. I'm sure of it. He would never try to hurt you. The other two joined in, urging me to let Kale off the hook, terrified he might face any consequences. I gripped the cup, and my knuckles white with repressed rage. In this life, I didn't drink anything. Yet the paradise was there. Did that mean the wine in my last life? Was that all Charlie's doing? Caleb was the source of all my suffering in both lifetimes. The thought made me tremble with fury. I squeezed the words out through a gritted teeth. I am never dropping the charges. Seeing my resolve, all power of term left in a huff and didn't visit me in the hospital again. I spent 3 days recovering in the hospital, taking care of myself and eating standard hospital food. One morning, just as I was about with a spoonful of oatmeal, my hospital room door swung open. Caleb strode in, a small grin on his face. Ethan Sterling, surprised to see me. So, what if you know I was the one who drugged you with you of our precious sisters protesting me? I'm completely fine. I had planned to ignore him, but then he took it to his cowl and I saw it. The intertwined silver ring on his finger. My precision hardened. I glanced down at my own hand. My ring finger was bare. A hot rage flirted inside me. I got out of bed and confronted him. Who told you could wear that ring? Take it out. Not only did he refuse, he held up his hand proudly. I just maintained that I liked it and Maya took it right out of your finger and gave it to me. I didn't want to hear another word. I lunged there for it, but before I could even touch him, he threw himself to the floor. A second later, Zoe burst in, shoved the mirror aside, and rose to protect Caleb, completely ignoring the effect that I had stumbled and hit my head. Caleb, who had been so arrogant moments before, was now cowering in Zoe's arms. I'm sorry, Ethan. Maya gave me the ring. I just thought that he was pretending wanted to wear it for a bit. I didn't mean to take it from you. Please don't hit me. I'm scared. Zoe immediately snatched the ring out of his finger and threw it at me. You shared Caleb over a stupid piece of metal. How could you be so cruel? I ignored her, quickly, retrieving the ring and carefully wiping it clean. Maya, who had just returned, had lost her usual gentle smile. It's just a dirty-looking ring. Is it really that important? You're making a scene over this and not even thinking about your recovery. Come here. Let me treat that code. I looked up at the trio of terror and screamed, Get out, all of you! Get out! Furious at my outburst, Zoe stormed out, taking a secretly pleased Caleb with her. Maya didn't spare me another glance before leaving. Her face a cold mask. After they were gone, I closed the door, and my face devoid of any sadness. Only people you care about can hurt you. And in this life, I'd soon do it to be free of terror. After one more night, I was discharged from the hospital. But on my way out, people were pointing and whispering. I had a bad feeling and immediately checked my phone. My name was trending on Twitter. La Design Institute's Ethan Sterling plagiarizes best friend, Charlie Singer project. The same plagiarism scandal had happened in my past life. Back then, I was already a prisoner in the mansion, and they had to set my social media icons to post a full confession and apology. My reputation in all was destroyed. I took a deep breath and clicked on the trending topic. Just like last time, my four sisters were on the channel defending Caleb. I clicked through the trivial videos that were circulating. In the first, at the Sterling Corp headquarters, Ermir was speaking to a news crew. Horton serious. Caleb is an exceptional talent that Sterling Corp is prior to support. In the second, at a press conference for her new movie, Israel had brought Caleb on stage. Maya was with the and the two sisters stood on either side of him holding his hands as Isabel renounced, I will always believe in Charlie's kindness and integrity. In the third, at a reception, the Israel's car was emblazoned with the words, Team Caleb across the hood. Wie the four princesses of Laswell-Cheers family all backing him. Public erpingen was keren pelitle annesidiet. I was a parier. Some design school hartrabi. Is just a veno annep. Ethan Sterling must have ripped off kill for the prize money. No wonder the four princesses aren't interested in him anymore. Is all style and no substance. Not like Caleb. Jose real talent. I stared at the screen. In a my past life, they forced me to confess my reputation was ruined. I was blacklisted from the industry and I never recovered. But in this life, I was prepared. I immediately went back to the mansion, found my original sketches, and posted a clarification on Twitter. I published the current complete design drafts, my creative process, and a detailed explanation of every source of inspiration. I ended the post with a single powerful sentence. I, Ethan Sterling, do not plagiarize. The tweet immediately started gaining traction, but 3 minutes later, it was gone. The post had been deleted. A moment later, my phone rang. It was her mother. Ethan, this plagiarism ends now. Caleb's health is fragile. I don't want him to be upset. Her voice was casual, as if this were some trivial matter. The nails of my clenched fist dug into my palm. So, you were the one who had my tweet deleted. Her voice was perfectly calm and removed there from the trending topics. Before she could continue, I caught her off, my voice shaking with rage. What right do you have to do that? What right do you have to be racist? Caleb was the one who plagiarized my work. So am I the one who has to suffer the consequences? She replied coolly. You don't need the prize money. The internet will find something new to be outraged about tomorrow. Don't worry, this will all blow over soon. Her shamelessness was so astounding I had to leave. Was this about money? How was a designer branded a plagiarist super set to build a career in this industry, but her tone was final. You're a Sterling. You could never work a day in your life and still be set for life. If Caleb gets a reputation for plagiarism, he'll be blacklisted. A kid from his background won't be able to survive that. This is how it's going to be. Don't bring Katie up again. With that, she hung up. I was so furious. My chest ached. In 2 lifetimes, they had betrayed me without a moment's hesitation. I was utterly disappointed. I remembered that after it agreed to the marriage, grandfather had my official Twitter account verified as the heir to the Sterling fortune. I immediately logged into that verified account and posted a new tweet. It instantly shot to the top of the trending list. I, Ethan Sterling, I am the sole heir to the Sterling family fortune, the largest in Los Angeles. I have no need to plagiarize for money. That one sentence caused a prior. Using that account, I reposted my original design sketches and included screenshots of my official correspondence with the bespoke design house from 3 months prior. They were one of the most respected design houses in the world. They would never help someone fake a career mission. The topic skyrocketed to number 1, and Caleb was crucified online. Users flooded Caleb's Twitter mentions with insults. This is disgusting. What kind of manipulative games did you play to get the four princesses to turn on their own brother and defend you? Maybe he slept with all four of them. Became their personal boy toy. If we got money, can I get a turn? With an officially verified account backed by my grandfather, no one could surprise the story. Less than half an hour after I posted, all four sisters who had been home and had showed up at the mansion. Isabel stepped forward, her voice soft and coaxing, just like when we were kids. Ethan, you have made your point. You can delete the tweet now. She reached out to smooth my hair, but I shoved her hand through. I looked at the four of them so successful now. They had probably long forgotten how it had gotten where they were. I didn't mind reminding them. I smirked. So now you remember where I hissed. When I was being branded a plagiarist. What were you all doing? Every single one of you was defending Caleb. You seem to have forgotten that the reason grandfather invested in you was so you would protect me. But not only did you fail to protect me, you repeatedly shared me for the sake of an outsider. Do you really think I'm going to delete that tweet? Hearing me use grandfather's name against them. All four of their expressions soured. Zoe, always the most impulsive, snapped. You're just jealous of Caleb. Your afraid is going to take us away from you, aren't you? Fine, you marry you. Is that what you want? I sneered at her condescending over. No thanks. I no longer have any desire to marry any of you. They clearly hadn't expected me to refuse so bluntly. Their faces grew even darker, angry that even after they had deigned to compromise, I was still acting so arrogant and unforgiving. Isabel rubbed her temples. Be good, Ethan. I know you want to marry one of us. Just pick one of us now. Whoever you choose will say yes as long as you delete the tweet. Ermir stepped up beside her, her voice soft. Just delete the tweet and we can have the wedding next week. I refused coldly. No need. I already have a wife. Her name is Chloe Vance. She's in love with me. She's proposed to me 88 times. Before, I had always assumed I would marry one of them, so I never maintained Chloe's feelings. Now, the father of them exchanged a look of pure disbelief. Zoe scoffed. Chloe Vance is from a famous military family. Here, all about discipline and tradition. I'm not trying to put you down, but he'd want a respectable gentleman, not a spoiled, petulant brat like you. If you really can decide, all four of us could marry you. I glanced at the others and saw that they all silently agreed with her. I'd soon believed they were willing to stoop this just to save Charlie's reputation. I had been reborn and to set the same design from my past life, not to forgive Caleb, but to give him a taste of each his own medicine. Just as I was about to refuse her again, Caleb burst into the room and threw himself at my feet, bowing which is hit to the floor. Ethan, I swear I didn't know it was yours in project. I just happened to see the sketches on the computer and got inspired. I was just borrowing some ideas. Please forgive me just this once. I came from nothing, from a poor town in the mountains. Took everything I had to get here. Even my reputation is ruined, and my life is over. I have no family left. If I have to go back home, and my father will force me to marry some 70-year-old widow. The four sisters watch him gravely, their hearts searching with pity. I, however, watch him with cold indifference. Zoe was the first to break. She went to help Caleb up, shot me a glare, and said, "Don't beg him. Don't worry. If your reputation is ruined, I support you for the rest of your life." I paid her words no mind. Ermir looked at me coldly. "You've really been spoiled rotten." I sneered back. I'm the grandson of a billionaire and the sole heir to the sterling fortune. It's only natural for me to be a little arrogant. Do you dislike it so much because Caleb's status as an orphan makes you feel sorry for him? The word orphan struck a nerve. All four of them had been adopted from an orphanage. Amelia soldierly clutched waist turned ashen with rage. She shot me a cold look and stormed out. Maya shook her head. "You disappointed me so much." Isabella's usual flirtatious smile vanished. "I don't even recognize you anymore," she said coldly as they left. One by one, I watched their retreating backs and faces deprecatingly. After the miserable life it lived there, wasn't I the one who should be disappointed? And now, just because I spoke a few words of truth, they act like this. It's pathetic. I didn't want to think about them anymore. And my wedding to Chloe was fast approaching, and I needed to pick out a gift for her. A necklace, a ring, earrings, or maybe a book. I spent the entire day browsing different luxury brands before I finally found the perfect one. Just as I was about to pay, I received a taunting message from Caleb. "Ethan Sterling. So what if you didn't delete the tweet to make a tea up to me? All four of them are going to marry me on New Year's Eve." He followed it with a picture of a wedding invitation. One groom, 4 brides. I opened Facebook and sure enough, Caleb had posted the invitation there as well. I smirked, liked the post, and commented, "Congrats. Hope you two or wife are very happy together." I was about to look at my phone when IT rang. IT was Zoe. Her voice was triumphant, as if she'd been waiting for my call. "Ethan Sterling, have you realized your mistake yet? Just apologize to Caleb and you call the wedding." I laughed coldly. I did nothing wrong. WH why should I apologize? Since you all prefer Caleb and can't stand this arrogant, spoiled heir, then I won't force myself to be a part of your world anymore. As soon as I said it, I could hear the angry voices of the other three sisters in the background. Before Zoe hung up in a rage, she spat out, "You'd better not regret this." I wouldn't. I had finally escaped the tragic fate of my last life. I'd chosen to it to be as far away from term as possible. I turned over my phone and slept soundly. The next day, I was woken by my phone ringing. It was grandfather return. I saw everything that happened online. I can believe that after all these years I raised four ungrateful riches. I'm giving the order right now to revoke all of their privileges. I could feel HA's rage even through the phone. I was worried the anger would affect HA's health, so I quickly tried to calm him. "Grandfather, please don't be angry. I don't care about Terem anymore. Besides, I have Chloe now. Like you said, she'll be with me from now on." That seemed to calm him. "Your wedding with Chloe is set for a week from now on New Year's Eve. Us is this time to get ready." Okay. After hanging up, I got a message from the real estate agent. Amir Sterling, the house sold for a great price. The buyer will be taking possession on New Year's Eve. A small smile played on my lips as I got out of bed. This way, after I was gone, the fire of terror could no longer disgust me in my own home. I went downstairs and told the staff to gather everything that had anything to do with my four sisters. 10. I took a chill out to the yard and burned it. I even had Terem bring in an excavator to dig up the magnolia trees in the yard. The father of Terem had planted those trees on their first day at our home when I was 10. They had witnessed so many years of our lives together. But now they were just an eyesore. I wanted Terem gone, roots and all, just like I wanted to rip those foul women out of my heart. When it was all done, the mansion felt empty but clean. I was about to take a break when I heard the voice from the entrance. "Where are the magnolia trees?" "Where were they gone?" I turned to see her walking toward me. Horace scanned me and I expected an outburst. Instead, she said almost to herself, "It's fine. Kilda isn't like magnolia anyway. We can plant this instead. He likes lilies." I smirked. "You and Caleb are a family now. You can plant whatever you want." She seemed taken aback by my response. Hor їх пресіон комплоркітіт. Ten що діт a bit awkwardly. "You should have just said so from the beginning." Just in my phone rang. It was the wedding plan Chloe had hired. "Amir, Sterling, if we just mailed you the final details for the venue and schedule for next year's wedding. Please let me know if you would like any changes." I didn't even open the email. "Whatever you arrange is fine," I replied. "I trust your judgment." My voice was lowered enough for Zoe to her. She let out a derisively. "Don't tell me you found out you're marrying Caleb next week and decided to stage your own wedding just so you can play the part of the groom crashing the ceremony. Ethan Sterling, you made a mistake and now you have to weigh the consequences. It's too late for regrets. We promised Caleb a wedding and never forget, and none of us are going to let you ruin it." I gave her a perfectly calm look and smiled. "I know you all love Caleb. Don't worry, I have no intention of crashing your wedding. I'm not going to marry any of you. I have my own bride." But she clearly didn't believe me. She pulled out her phone and started a video call with the others. "You guys are not going to believe this. Ethan is staging HA's own wedding next week on the same day as ours, just to tear and steal us away from Caleb." She aimed the camera at me, forcing me into their video shot. The other three had apparently dropped everything to be by Caleb's side. Ermir glanced at me. Her brow furrowed. "You've made our decision. You're not changing our minds." The warmth in my essays vanished. "Don't waste your time." Isabel turned to quote Caleb. "Don't you worry, Caleb. We won't let him take us through." Every word was a carefully aimed dart meant to wound me, but I just kept smiling. "You can all relax. I have my own wedding to attend. I have no intention of crashing yours." With that, I ended the call. I saw stand the sight of their faces. Zoe put her phone away. Seeing that I was immune to her persuasion, she didn't linger, but gave me one last warning look. "Caleb likes this house. He'll be leaving for the wedding from here. Don't make a scene." I didn't respond. The wedding was the same day the house was being handed over to its new owner. Shikutik at visterum. In the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve, the day of both my wedding and tears. I came downstairs in the morning with my luggage and ran right into Caleb dressed in a bespoke suit, the perfect coat, the diamond-studded buttons, the elegant Ikhian fabric. It was the exact suit from my senior project. He glanced at my simple shirt and slacks and smirked. Don't you have a wedding today, too? It is your designated suite. Don't tell me you think this little running crew from home act is going to convince Terem to leave me for you. Let me tell you, it's not going to happen. This wedding is being live-remomed and I'm going to be the most handsome groom they could ever ask for. I'd soon be better to engage with him. Then I wish you all the best. I said I hope the five of you are very happy together for the rest of your lives. Just stay out of mine. I walked out to the driveway with my suitcase and looked up to see my four sisters all in wedding gowns. Ermir wore a simple, elegant white mermaid gown that suited her cool beauty. Maya was in a pink full-skirted ball gown. Her hair styled like a princess, the picture of gentle elegance. Isabella's satin gown was stunning with a plunging neckline that barely contained her ample curves. Zoe wore a custom gown with a dramatic flowing skirt that perfectly captured her wild spirit. Think me with my suitcase, all four of Terem froze. They exchanged a panicked look and asked in unison, "Where are you going?" Isabel reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "To my wedding," I said calmly. Hearing this, the four of Terem, who had looked so worried a moment before, seemed to relax. Their relaxed posture made it clear they thought I was just playing hard to get. Ermir stepped forward, her expression serious. "As long as you promise to stop targeting Caleb and learn to get along with him, we will honor Grandfather's promise. We will marry you." The others chimed in. "As long as you can accept Caleb, we can all be a happy family. It's New Year's Eve. If you're truly sorry, you can stay home and prepare a nice dinner for us. After our wedding, we can all celebrate the new year together." I just smiled. I've already made myself clear. I'm getting married today, too. From this day forward, my New Year's will have nothing to do with any of you. With that, I ignored their toneless expressions and walked out onto the large lawn in front of the mansion. Seeing that its own persuaded me, they gave up and turned their attention back to Caleb, lovingly helping him into the waiting limousine. Just then, a deafening roar filled the air from above. Dozens of helicopters, each marked with the Vance family crest, began to land on the lawn. As everyone watched in stunned silence, two squads of soldiers in full dress uniform, disembarked, formed ranks in front of me, saluted and declared in unison, "By order of Miss Chloe Vance, we are here to escort the groom, Emeritron Sterling, to the wedding." The sight of dozens of military helicopters and uniformed soldiers left everyone speechless. As my helicopter ascended, I could see the visible panic on the faces of the four women below. Just as they were about to run after me, Caleb stepped in front of Terem, with his voice dripping with each usual feigned pity. "Ermir, Maya, Isabel, Zoe, I can't believe Ethan will go this far just to tear away and steal you away from me. Even never heard of a wedding where the bride yet even show up. He must have paid a fortune to hire these actors." The sisters, who had been about to give chase, hesitated, which I assured with Terem pause, though a seat of doubt remained. After all, no one would dare to make a joke involving the Vance family. Caleb pressed on. "Even a nobody like me as you don't mess it with the Vances. Ethan is deliberately putting on the show. When he inevitably offends the Vance family, he has the sterling fortune to protect him. But what about me? He just wants to ruin our wedding and make me the laughingstock of law. 10 or long, I have no way to survive here. He wants to destroy me." Hearing this, any remaining doubt in their minds vanished. They all frowned. Zoe adjusted her gown, her voice laced with anger. We were almost fooled by him. How could he be so malicious? Seeing that he had won Terem over, Caleb looked down, with his expression crestfallen. "I have nothing in this world but you, fire. Unlike Ethan, is a sterling heir. He'll always be taken care of, free to do whatever he wants without consequence. But every step for me is a struggle. If I lose you, I don't know how I'll be able to go on." Instantly, Uchi's face contorted in a mask of pain. Seeing him like this, the four sisters' hearts went out to him and they all rushed to comfort him. Isabel threw her arms round him. "Don't worry, ye never leave you. Don't be sad. You won't look good in the pictures." Maya pulled out a silken kerchief and gently wiped Uchi's tears. "We promised you an unforgettable wedding, and we won't go back on our word." Zoe quickly agreed. "That's right. Today is our wedding day. You're the most handsome groom and you're our treasure. We love you more than anything. How could we ever leave you?" "Right," her mother, even her mother, usually so serious and care-imposed, nodded in reassurance. "Don't worry, we won't abandon our handsome groom. The wedding will proceed as planned." The father of the harem helped Caleb into the limousine, cooing and fawning over him. Caleb finally managed to smile, though Uchi's voice was still tinged with sadness. "I'm so lucky to have you all." Seeing him smile, the four sisters finally relaxed. Zoe quickly replied, "Of course, today you are going to be the most invited man in all of Los Angeles." The four princesses of La marrying one man was certainly a spectacle, especially since the groom had just been at the center of a plagiarism scandal. The wedding drew a huge online audience and the live stream show was scrolling non-stop. Evie got to hint IT to the scholarship kid. He's got some serious game to have this four women rub it around with his finger. So, if Ethan Sterling is the heir, then who are these four princesses? Really, what if they are chair blind? To pass up a guy like Ethan Sterling for this plagiarizing nobody. Caleb in the car had expected to see a flood of envious comments, but 9 out of 10 messages in the chat were insulting him. Uchi's face fell. Isabel sitting beside him noticed immediately. She covered Uchi's face with her hand. "Don't look at that. Just focus on being the heaviest groom in the world today." Ermir simply raised her hand, signaling for the staff to cut the live stream. But just as they were about to turn off the large screen in the car, a new comment caught their eye. "I don't think that was an act. Those were once family helicopters and those were real soldiers in dress uniform. Here is no way they were actors." Isabella's face fell as she remembered the shocking scene from earlier. "By order of Miss Chloe Vance, we are here to escort the groom, Emma Sterling, to the wedding." She exchanged a look with the other three. IT was clear they had all seen the comment. They had claimed not to believe me, but an uncontrollable panic was beginning to set in. For a moment, the car was silent. Lately, I had grown so distant from Teheran. In the past, if I had made Teheran angry, I would have immediately apologized and done anything to get back in their good graces. I would have swallowed my pride, shed my spoiled attitude, all just to get Teheran to talk to me again. But for the past month, I had been acting completely out of character. I ain't apologized. I ain't even tried to contact Teheran. The more Zoe thought about IT, the more uneasy she became. Miller, she began, her voice trembling slightly. "You don't think those helicopters were actually before she could finish?" Caleb interrupted. Isabel still had her hand over Richie's face. "So he ain't seen the comment. What about the helicopters?" he asked, confused. Zoe quickly waved IT away. "Nothing? Caleb, you had an early start today. Just rest in the car for a bit. It's going to be a busy day." Caleb could tell from her expression that she was hiding something. But no matter what, Tada's wedding had to happen. He'd so and let Teheran go looking for me. He spoke, which his voice hesitant. "Actually, I overheard Ethan on the phone with his grandfather last night. And his grandfather rented the helicopters for him. He threatened me not to tell you. Said he'd kick me out of the mansion if I did." Zoe was the first to react. "I knew it. The Vances are a serious military family. They would never go along with HES games. IT must have been HES grandfather. He's as arrogant and spoiled as ever, pulling all the stunts just to tear and make us abandon Caleb and run back to him. Don't worry, Caleb. We are not going to let him win. You only consider taking him back when he apologizes to you." The others also accepted this explanation and their panic subsided. For the rest of the ride, they doted on Caleb. Meanwhile, at the grand ballroom of the Pinnacle Estates, a massive crystal fountain floated in the center of the room, its gentle splashing of perfect accompaniment to the symphony playing swiftly in the background. A red carpet stretched from the entrance deep into the ballroom, flanked on both sides by a sea of vibrant flowers that looked like something out of a fairy tale. A my helicopter landed right in the center of the red carpet, and I felt a strong knot of nervousness in my stomach. In the past, when my word revolved around my four sisters, I had never paid much attention to Chloe's private declarations of love. But seeing her this time, I felt a strong sense of nervous anticipation, like coming home after a long time, Rui. In their silence in her, it often heard the elders in my family speak of her. She was the most accomplished of her generation, and even my grandfather was full of praise for her whenever he mentioned her name. I took out the book I had chosen for her, checked my appearance one last time in a small mirror, and chance satisfied, I stepped out of the helicopter. 2 hours later, my sister sent Killer private at the Pinocchio Estates. The fleet of helicopters was still parked on the grounds, impossible to miss. As they got out of their car, they saw me immediately. Their lips twisted into a sneer. I knew it is here to ruin our wedding. The other 3 all seemed convinced that my presence here was a calculated move. They thought my talk of marrying someone else was just a bluff. A desperate attempt to make Taram jealous and call out their wedding to Caleb. Caleb nervously straightened his sweet jacket. Miller, Maya, Isabel, Zai. Is he going to Tierra and stop the wedding? What if he tries to ruin everything? I don't know what he's capable of. I'm so afraid he's going to keep me from marrying you. Hearing this, the sisters' expressions hardened. Zoe spoke first. Don't worry, Caleb. We would marry you today, even if the sky were falling. Isabel, who had been quiet, did so swiftly. We promised you an unforgettable wedding, and we will keep that promise no matter what. She playfully tapped to each and to inked. How could we ever disappoint our handsome groom? Miller, over the convan, stated simply, don't worry, everything is arranged there. I have security keep an eye on him. There won't be any incidents. Their reassurances seemed to come Caleb's nervous. He saw and suppressed a flicker of triumph. Their wedding was in the premium ballroom, right next to the grand ballroom where mine was being held. Both rooms were luxurious, but the premium ballroom put in comparison to the grand one. The premium ballroom, for instance, didn't have a diamond fountain in the center. Charlie's eyes darkened. WHY showed his wedding being the best ballroom. He took it on Isabella's sleeve. Isabel, that fountain is so beautiful. Can't we have our wedding in that ballroom? Isabel was all confused. Ermir had been in charge of the arrangements, and she always insisted on the best. WHY and she booked the grand ballroom. Ermir, Kilp wants to move to the grand ballroom. Can you see what you can do? Ermir frowned. When I made the booking, the manager told me the grand ballroom wasn't available for private events. Zoe, ever impatient, grabbed a day nearby staff member error. Can you move us to the grand ballroom? Ye pay whatever IT costs. The staff member error, startled, quickly carried past himself. I'm very sorry, miss, but I can't do that. The grand ballroom is not available for public booking. Zoe glanced at the helicopters parked outside and assumed I had booked the room. She scoffed. Don't give me that not available line. Someone is clearly using IT right now. Go tell your boss. You pay 10 times the price. You're having our wedding in that ballroom. We weren't waiting for a reply. She grabbed the killer and marched towards the entrance of the grand ballroom. But as she tried to enter, a security guard blocked her path. I'm sorry, miss. You can't enter without an invitation. Zoe was furious. Do you have any idea who I am? One phone call from me, and the people in there will be begging me to come in. Just then, I emerged there from the dressing room. This is my wedding, I said. It's not open to just any referee. I had been escorted to the dressing room right after I landed. I was now dressed in my bespoke suite, every button perfectly fastened, every crease sharp. I felt like a prince from a bygone year. The moment Zoe saw me, her anger seemed to evaporate, replaced by a dark, small daring look in her eyes. The other 3 who had followed her all stopped in their tracks when they saw me. They stared at me, their eyes intense, their deep gazes filled with an undisguised, burning desire. Isabel stepped forward as if to grab me, but a security guard blocked her way. She stared at me. Her throat working. Her voice is seductive. Ethan, stop this childish game. You're just having a ceremony with Caleb. You're not getting legally married. Let Caleb have this ballroom today and you forget all about the Twitter incident. Maya stepped forward as well. Horace will have attended in term in a long time. That's right. Just let Caleb have the ballroom and we can pretend none of this ever happened. We can go back to being a family. Even in the Minnesota's cold days, a flicker of desert it never seen before was strong. A flicker she shares of some tone roer off. Her voice was slightly husky when she spoke. You've made you a point. Now be good and go home. You come back to you after the ceremony with Caleb is over. I looked at the Adam. A sarcastic smile touching my lips. Even now, they still hadn't taken me seriously. They still thought I was just trying a tantrum, but I no longer cared. I spoke calmly. As I said, I'm here for my wedding. This is my venue. WJ honors would I give it up. As soon as I finish it, Caleb peep it up. It just says white with finite confusion. Ethan, you say you're getting married, but I don't see a braid. Can you get married all by yourself? Are you still planning on crashing our wedding? I was sick of each act. I told you I have my own bride. I snapped. The wife of you can do whatever you want. Just stay away from me. I don't want my wife to get the wrong idea. Caleb looked round dramatically. Ethan, you keep talking about this wife of yours, but where is she? And my sisters also glanced round. There was indeed no bride inside. This only confirmed their suspicion that I was just trying to cause trouble. Ermir glanced at her watch. Her tongue graying stern. Ethan, stop this nonsense. Our ceremony with Caleb is about to begin. Give us this ballroom and have someone drive you home. Hearing that time was running out, even my gentle tone became strained. This little game of yours is getting old, Ethan. I shot back. Who's playing games? I told you. I have a wife. Her name is Chloe Vance. With that, I turned to the security guards. None of this wife are to be allowed in this ballroom today. Escort, tear them out. The guards immediately moved to comply. Yes, sir. Zoe was livid. A family like the Vances would never be interested in someone like you. Now, stop holding up our wedding and go home. Just as she finished it, a cold, clear voice came from behind her. I think you're the ones who should be leaving. Chloe Van stepped out of a car. Her long legs carrying her forward with purpose. She was stunning with cool, intelligent and a reserved, powerful liar. She wore a breathtaking gown of layered, tall embroidered with delicate tresses that highlighted the elegant line of her neck. Her pale skin was just visible beneath the sheer fabric, making her look like an ethereal, outwardly beauty. On her head sat an antique tie that spoke of adult elegance and nobility. She walked past my four sisters and Caleb without a glance and came to stand directly in front of me. She looked at me. Her eyes soft. I'm sorry I'm late. I was called through an urgent assignment and had to take care of it before I could get here. I could see a fine sheen of sweat on her forehead. She had clearly rushed to get here. I instinctively raised my hand to wipe my tear, but the sharp voice caught in. Who's this? Earn a actress you hired. We don't have time for this. Give the ballroom to Caleb. Our ceremony is about to start. Because of her family's military background, Chloe rarely made public appearances and her photo had never been in any magazine or newspaper. And since she had always approached me privately, it was no surprise that none of the Aram recognized her. Caleb, seeing that I was holding the Aram up, started with his victim routine again. Ethan, I know you're jealous that the sisters are marrying me. They're just doing this to help me so people won't look down on me anymore. Everyone is about the wedding now. If you stop it from happening, it be a laughing stock. You never be able to make it in law. You have to go back to my hometown. You be stuck there forever. He finished it with his face a mescal saura. Seeing him like this, my four sisters' hearts melted with pity. I wasn't going to indulge him any longer. The reason you can't make it, I said, cutting straight to the point, is because you plagiarized my singing project. You're the one who did something wrong, not me. Stop playing the victim. Hearing this, Zoe clenched her fists. Her teeth gritted. Ethan Sterling, Tchatsinauf. Caleb already apologized for that. He just saw your design on a MY computer and was inspired by IT. He didn't mean to copy IT. WH, why do you keep bringing IT up? Who are you trying to impress with this aggressive act? A cold smile touched my lips. Me aggressive. If he really felt bad about what he did, he wouldn't be standing here wearing the suit that I designate. At that, Zoe was speechless. Ermil frowned. Her voice sharper than usual. Tchatsinauf. The sense now. She turned to Chloe, who stood beside me in her wedding gown. Ermil looked her up and down. Her years of experience in the business world told her that this woman was no mere actress. She was silent for a moment before speaking. Ethan, it's clear you have spoiled you far too much over the years. After our wedding with Caleb is over, you're going to have to teach you some manners. Isabel, who had been silent, finally spoke. Just step aside and let us have our wedding, and you forget this whole thing ever happened. You won't even have to apologize. Chloe stepped in front of me, her face a mask of cold fury, her voice laced with authority. You are in a position to teach my husband anything. At her words, the faces of the four sisters hardened. Isabel in particular seemed to ignite with an Amelia's rage at the sight of me standing behind Chloe. Her smile vanished and she squinted at Chloe, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Which talent agency do you work for? You have certainly got the potential to be an actress. Do you even know who Chloe Vance is? You have got some nerve. Hearing this, Chloe turned and met my gaze, a look that seemed to ask, Adele Louise's dancer. I nodded. Zoe, seeing our silent exchange, grew even more furious. Ethan Sterling, don't push you a look. Do you have any idea who the Vances are when they find out about this? Ermil is going to be the one cleaning up your messes now. Give us this ballroom so we can get married. Chloe rubbed her forehead, turning away subtle not to the bodyguards who had arrived there with her. Remove the RM since you don't seem to understand words. Perhaps a more direct approach is needed. Escort all 5 of them out of the premises, and from now on, they are banned from all Vance family properties. Only 10 did the 5 of them seem to notice the bodyguard standing behind them. Unlike their state's regular security, these men were built like soldiers, their posture and presence radiating military discipline. Zoe pennied firm to protest, but Ermil caught her out with a sharp quiet. Ermil met Chloe's gaze, and something in the other man's deep, steady and powerful hour told her that this might actually be the real Chloe Vance. Before the bodyguards could move in, she changed her tack. We don't need this ballroom. Use is the other one. But regardless of who you are, you know the Sterling family's position in law. Our families have business together. It would be our honest to make this any uglier than it already is. Ermil was a true businesswoman. She knew exactly which levers to pull. But Chloe was unimpressed. She replied, her voice cold as ice. If I recall correctly, you were all adopted by Mayor Sterling. You are not HSRs. We towards the Sterling family's backing, you are nothing. If he knew you were treating with his grandson this way, I imagine he would have thrown you out long ago. Now, while I still have some patience left, get out. You are not welcome here. Chloe's words struck a nerve, but they still didn't move. Their fists were clenched, but the defiant provocations had stopped. They could all feel the immense pressure radiating from Chloe. And after Amelia's warning, they simply stared at her in silence. Ermil, utterly so composed, was visibly shaken as if Chloe's words had struck a physical blow. She replied to Chloe, her voice tight. We can live, but you're taking Keaton with us. We are his fiancés, which allow him to be with another woman. Chloe's brow furrowed, her expression sharp, her entire being radiating an aura of merriment. Ermil met her gaze, there is locked in a silent battle of wills. Who gave you the absurd idea that you are Ethan's fiancés? Today is our wedding. From this day forward, he is my husband and he has absolutely nothing to do with any of you. With that, Chloe gave a slight flick of her wrist and her guards moved in, physically removing the 5 of them from the premises. Having just revealed her rotter side to her new husband, Chloe felt a pang of nervousness. She turned to me, her expression softening. Ethan, She asked, her voice gentle. Are you afraid of me when I'm like that? Being born into a family like the Vances, she had to have a certain rootworthiness to survive, but it was a side of herself she had never wanted to show me. I made her gazy, and why unfilled with sincerity. On the contrary, I said, I should be thanking you for getting rid of those major problems for me. Hearing that, she seemed to relax. She knew the story of my sisters, knew that I was supposed to marry one of them. She had always assumed they treated me well. Today, she had seen for herself how much I had suffered. She looked at me with such tenderness that I felt myself blush. She pulled a small rice cake from her pocket and placed it in my hand. You must be hungry after all this waiting. Here, have something to eat. I was so lost in her gentleness that I felt almost light-headed. I unwrapped it and took a bite. It was soft and subtly sweet and delicious. Halfway through, I remembered the gift I had for her and pulled the brew from my pocket. I handed it to her, unable to make her raise. This is for you. I know it's not the first time you were made, but I wanted to give you something. I spent a long time choosing IT. I hope you like IT. She took IT, a smile playing at the corners of her as she looked at me. I love IT, she said so swiftly. I love anything that comes from you. She hadn't expected her husband to be so handsome and so sweet. For a moment, she looked like she wanted to throw her arms around me, but she restrained herself, as if she were afraid of scaring me. From the first time she had met me, she had sworn she would marry me. But family matters had forced her to go out, and she had missed so many years with me. She made a silent to herself then and there to make up for all that lost time, to cherish every moment we had together. Because of my grandfather's poor health, I asked him to the clinic for the wedding, and Chloe, not wanting to overwhelm me, had only invited a few of her class's family members. The ceremony was simple. Afterwards, I went with her back to her home in the family quarters of the military base. She decorated our new home beautifully and had already prepared everything for me, down to slippers, a toothbrush, and towels. The base housing was, of course, a far away from the mansion. Chloe looked up at me. I thought about having you stay at the mansion in the city, but my family's airfares can be complicated. I didn't want you to have to waste all that alone. That's why I wanted you to come here with me. The accommodations may not be as luxurious, but no one will ever be able to bother you here. You can do whatever you want here in peace. She gently brushed her forehead against mine. You must be exhausted. Let's get cleaned up and get some rest. My face instantly grew hot. Were we going to be sleeping in the same bed or in the dim light? Chloe took a step closer, the space between us vanishing. She rose onto her tiptoes, her warm breath tickling in my ear as she whispered, Ethan, would you prefer to sleep together or in separate rooms? This playful, seductive woman was a word away from the serious commander I had seen during the day. I was enveloped in her clean, fresh scent, and my mind went blank. Before I could answer, she stepped back. The base assigned us a bedroom house. You can't take the master bedroom. You sleep in the guest room. We were married, so sleeping together would have been natural, but we barely knew each other, and I wasn't ready for that yet. She clearly sensed my apprehension and hadn't pushed me. Meanwhile, back at the mansion in La, Ermira and the others had returned with Kilp, only to find the gates locked. They tried the old security code, but it wouldn't open. Ermira immediately called her assistant, sent someone to check the security system at the mansion. Her assistant was silent for a moment before replying, Ma'am, that mansion is currently listed for sale. I'm sending you the link to the listing now. Hearing this, Amelia's face darkened. She clicked the link. It was, indeed, their mansion. Maya, sensing something was wrong, leaned it in. Miller, what is it? Amelia's brow was furrowed. Ethan has put the house up for sale. At this news, all of their faces fell. From the woman at the wedding to the for sale sign on the house, they were suddenly hit with the realization that I wasn't playing games. I was really leaving TRM. They exchanged a look and saw the same panic and unease reflected in each of her face. They had never imagined I would actually leave TRM. In the past, when they had hinted at their feelings for me, I had been flustered and flattered. I had wanted to marry one of them, but could never bring myself to choose. They had never made a pact that no matter what you say, it wouldn't affect their relationship as sisters. How could I have chosen someone else entirely? Had I been telling the truth all this time when I said I had a wife? Had I been planning to leave them for a month? Zoe finally voiced the question on all of their minds. Is Ethan really leaving us to marry someone else? Ermir, was that woman today really Chloe Vance? As soon as they had left their state, Ermir had someone pull up the recording of the live stream. Only someone with military connections could have orchestrated such a display, and only someone completely unafraid of the consequences would have treated them with such disrespect. That woman could only have been Chloe Vance. Ermir nodded silently. The faces of the other three turned grim. If it had been anyone else, they would have been confident they could win me back. But Chloe Vance, that was a different story. A heavy silence fell over Teram, a shared frustration with no outlet. Caleb, on the other hand, was secretly pleased. If Ethan was really married, then he would have the power of Teram all to himself. Tada's wedding may have been a disaster, but they would all be living under the same roof. He was confident he could win one of Teram over. He would marry one of Teram, and then he would finally have a secure place in the society. The thought made him swell with pride, but he put on a look of disappointment. Ethan knew you all grew up in this house together. WJ would he select. At each words, their expressions grew even darker. I hadn't just abandoned Teram. I had abandoned all the years of memories they had shared. No matter what, they had to keep the house. Even if I was gone, at least they would have the house, a place to hold on to the memories. Ermir immediately called for assistant. Buy the house. The assistant hesitated. Ma'am, there are insufficient funds in their account. Ermir frowned. What do you mean not enough funds? Is there a problem with the company? The assistant stammered. And no, ma'am, the company is fine. It's just you no longer have the authority to access the corporate accounts. Emir, Sterling has revoked your privileges and your personal accounts don't have enough to cover the cost of the mansion. In the silent night, the voice on the phone was loud enough for everyone to hear. His grandfather had intervened. It meant he knew about MY marriage. They who had been chosen by him to be MY potential brides now had no hope at all. Isabel stepped forward and put a hand on Amelia's shoulder. Ermir, I have some savings. See if it's enough. If we pull our money, my edit, mine, too. Zoe quickly chimed in. If we совет Apple MY prize money. You can have it. Ermir. The mansion in the heart of Beverly Hills was worth a fortune. The father of Teram had never imagined they would be in such a position, having to put their money just to buy back their own home. A somber silence fell over Teram. Charlie's face fell for a moment when he heard this, but then he remembered Ermir was a top for Nancy, Maya a surgeon, Isabella a shining actress, and Zoe a champion race car driver. Even though it was the Sterling family super, they would be fine. Besides, he had grown accustomed to the mansion. He'd saw the Magini living in some small, shabby apartment. He spoke up cautiously. Ermir, I have some money, too. Before he could finish, Zoe caught him off. How much could you possibly have? Seeing the hurt look on Ichi's face, she quickly backtracked. I didn't mean it like that. This house isn't your responsibility. You don't have to contribute. Her words meant to be comforting only made him feel more like an outsider. But their minds were elsewhere, and no one noticed Ichi's crestfallen expression. Feelings about Chalip's resentment grew. In the past, they would have noticed Uji's slightest change in mood. The smallest hint of sadness from him would have sent Aram into a flurry of concern. How had everything changed there so much just because I was gone? Ermir pulled their money and called her assistant to buy the house. After hanging up, she told the others, I have some stocks and mutual funds. I pay you all back as soon as they're liquidated. As the eldest, she soon let her sisters bear the financial burden. Though not related by blood, they had been through so much together over there that they considered each other family. Maya adjusted her glasses. Ermir, we all have enough to live on. Don't rush your investments. Just think of IT as lending IT to you. If we ever really need IT, you ask for IT back. Ze åter toen dit in agreement. That's right, Ermir. You're not in a hurry. As long as we have the house back, it's our home after all. At the old home, all four of them felt a stinking days. It was my grandfather who had given them a home, a place where they had shared so many happy memories with me. The assistant worked quickly. In less than 10 minutes, the sale was complete and he sent them the new security code. As they opened the gate and stepped inside, they all felt a sense of relief. At least they had surveyed this piece of their shared history. They ignored Caleb, who trailed behind them and went straight to my old room. They wanted to like much of the house completely empty, save for the furniture. My actions had been so vital. They had no choice but to accept that I was really gone. They tried to message me only to be met with a red exclamation point of a block number error. Zoe felt a gnawing unease in her chest, a frustration she sounded quietening. How could he do this? Block all of us. The all those years we spent together mean nothing to him. Maya stared at her phone. Their last chat was from a month ago. It was a long string of my apologies and her replies, always telling me to give something else to Caleb. A wave of exhaustion washed over her and she sank onto the edge of the bed. Did we make a mistake? Ever since Caleb came, we made it and give him everything. But all of those things were just to begin with. You don't know what you got till it's gone. As they scrolled through their old messages with me, the full weight of how badly they had treated me began to sink in. I had been their beloved little brother. When had that changed there? Just then, Caleb appeared in the doorway. He asked timidly, Isabel, can you stay with me tonight? The house felt so empty. I'm a little scared. Isabel looked at him, but the pity that had once been in Forest was gone. If you're scared, turn on a light, she said coldly. What good am I going to do? Caleb froze, stunned by her coldness. In the past, all four of them would have been fighting over who got to comfort him. Now, none of them would even spare him a glance. With his face fell. I'm really scared, he whispered. Seeing Udi's pathetic state, they finally relented. Zoe sighed and went to him. Come on, I stay with you. None of them slept that night. They were all consumed with one thought. How to get me back? Now that I was gone, the house felt cold and empty. This house held so many memories from the day they arrived when I was this all the way through my college graduation.